Good evening, welcome to Face to Face. My guest is Doug Reid, CEO of Vox Telecom, and they gave results after market closing yesterday afternoon. Sneaked them in there, Doug. But it was a good set of results. Revenue up by over 230%, earnings per share driven up by over 120%. So really emphasising the fact that this is a growing business. This is a business going places.
Yes, no, our strategy is on track and everything is going according to plan, thank goodness. So we're quite pleased.
So you've made it clear that that expansion is partly due to organic growth, but also due to the many acquisitions you've done. Now,
yes,
how's your progress? How far are you in bedding down those acquisitions? Because I would imagine it's quite a precarious time in a business, getting everything smoothed down so you can carry on growing.
Yes, it has been, except it doesn't impact the business in its entirety, because certain acquisitions only affect certain businesses, like for example Atlantic or Orion. So far everything's bedded down and fully integrated except for Storm, which is in the process.
Okay. Now you've also indicated that that you are considering further strategic acquisitions. Are these in the pipeline? Can you talk about them? What sort of business types are we talking about?
There's nothing firm. We obviously need to get into the cellular industry. That's a missing component in the jigsaw puzzle. And our SADC strategy is softly, slowly approach. But we'll evaluate each opportunity as it comes out.
So far, only a presence in Namibia, so
yes,
you're seeing a broader presence going deeper.
Yes, ultimately in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, we wanted a complete SADC business.
Okay, but SADC, we're not talking Nigeria?
No, not necessarily.
Yes. Okay.
Probably SADC or maybe 1 or 2 other countries slightly north of that.
All right. Now, Doug, these expansions form part of your stated goal of becoming the leading independent alternative telco. How would you measure that? When would you know you are there? Is this according to market share?
Yes, I mean at the moment we service over 160,000 consumers and 18,500 businesses, so we are one of the largest players. But in terms of telco space, we want to get to 10 to 15% of the entire market, which is taking out revenue from 2 billion to 15 billion. So it's a long way to go still.
Time-wise, how long?
We've got a 5-year strategy for that. That's the goals and that's the strategy, and it'll obviously be further acquisitions and consolidation in the space as well.
Mm-hmm. These acquisitions, so far you funded them through long-term loan facilities. Is that the continued plan in the future?
No, it's a combination of. We'll weigh each one up on their merits.
Are you going to remain on Altex?
We'll probably move towards the end of the year, but that's not definite yet. Okay. We quite like Altex.
Why?
I suppose it's better being a big fish in a small pond, yes. And we've been with Altex from the beginning, so we've had a good experience there.
Right. Okay. Now, what's been the impact on your business so far of the softening economy? We're seeing more and more evidence by the day, as well as rising inflation. Now, I ask this because the advice we're getting from fund managers is if you're going to buy exposure to the South African economy, go for those companies with an exposure to the infrastructure spend story, and a telco provider fits the bill.
Well, look, we've got contracted revenue, so that is a huge barrier or a safety net in yes. terms of the revenue lines. But I think it will affect us slightly anyway. If the economy does go in a bit of a downturn, and we will be affected, but not unduly worried about it.
Right. Meanwhile, you've got some sort of legal action pending, not sort of indirectly, not directly aimed at you. Autopage Cellular under LTIC is trying to stop the process whereby ICASA is issuing electronic communication services licenses. Now, what is the story about?
Well, I think it's a tactic of theirs. It doesn't look like I don't think they're confident that their submission will stand on its own merits. So they're using another way of trying to get into the equation. It has not so much serious implications for us, but it could have very serious implications, for example, Vodacom and MTN.
Why?
Because they are automatically moving over to an ECNS license. So if this delays that process, a lot of their Vodacom business plans and MTN business plans, etc., might be put on hold.
Okay, you seem quite cool about the prospects for you, although you did indicate in your results that that's sort of the next step, the next target for you is to get this license.
It's important in our strategy to get it. It's part of our telco strategy as opposed to the service provider component of the business. I think this will delay it. I think it's unfortunate because we've all been begging for competition, and now we finally got the policy and the government and the regulators all on sides, and now it's been retarded by the private enterprise themselves. But I suppose it's one of those things we have to deal with.
Just looking ahead, plenty of good news here aside from this legal matter and lots of growth opportunities. Doug, what are the risks for your business going forward?
Our risk, I suppose, there's a political risk in terms of the country as a whole. But things like Eskom, for example, enhance our businesses because we're getting more and more hosting facilities, etc. You know, because we obviously set up with generators, etc. I don't think so. You know, we're in a very exciting space. I think that telecommunications is one of the growth industries of the whole of the African space. So we're very pleased we're in this sector.
And more immediate, if you look at the second half in your results statement, you're very optimistic, saying typically, traditionally, your second half is better, with the first half straddling the Christmas period. What are your expectations?
Look, the organic growth in the core businesses is very good, and some of a lot will depend on some of our startup businesses or how they perform, which is a bit of an unknown. Yes. But we'd like to continue with stellar results, but it's going to be a push.
Doug, thanks very much. We'll be keeping our eyes on you.
Thanks,
Doug Reid is CEO of Vox Telecom.